Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, we are back with the Friday review. Excited to go over the updates for the week. We're going to go over a brand new product review, at least brand new to me. If you've heard about it, I would love to hear from you in the comments, of course. If you've tasted the two different types, which I'll talk about in just a moment, let me know what your favorite is. We'll be going over some research this week and so much more. So let's dive into the show. The first thing I want to be able to go over are the updates for the week. If you are not already registered and coming to the Reimagining Health Summit, this is my open invitation to you. I would love to be able to meet you there in person. This is my event that I'm putting on for this year, and then going forward, it's in October of this year. You can find out all about it at thereimagininghealthsummit.com. thereimagininghealthsummit.com. That is what it's all about, is literally reimagining health and wellness, the future of true healthcare, as well as anti-aging, longevity-based protocols, and so much more. There are, I believe, a total of 16 talks that are going to happen, and there's about 14 different expert speakers. So you're going to be hearing from the best of the best in my colleagues, and you're going to be hearing from them on all things health, wellness, anti-aging, longevity, and so much more. It's also an experiential-based event, so you're going to be able to test out some of the most amazing, advanced, and healthy biohacking products in the world. There'll be over 20 different sponsors there at the event. You're definitely going to want to check it out. So it's pretty amazing. And again, you can find it at the reimagininghealthsummit.com. All right. So first up, I always love to be able to share with you what's going on over in the private practice as we're moving through the end of summer here, and it is back to school, back to the typical usual work-based routine. We have some of our favorites to share with you. We did this last year. We want to bring it back this year. You can get yourself a free pack, a whole pack, 9 bars of our whole food bars. These are non-GMO. These are nut-free. So it's going to be safe for most schools. We can't say all schools safe because everybody has their own different rules. Free of the most of the 9 most common food allergens. So that's a part of it as well. And these are absolutely clean bars. They're absolutely delicious. Very few ingredients. You can read right on the back. And they have that amazing Sacha Inchi protein, a really clean plant-based protein source. Get your free box of either the decadent chocolate or the apple cinnamon crisp. Head on over to stephencabral.com/shop to get your free box on all qualifying orders this week while supplies last. All right, podcast recap for the week. So, love being able to do the Mindset and Motivation Monday shows. This week was, are you all in on your goals? I really talk about the difference between being all in, setting your goal, visualizing your goal, wanting your goal, and being all in. All in is not about not making mistakes. All in is not having ups and downs. You'll have those. But what I do is I go over the game plan that you really need in order to be successful when it comes to achieving your goals, not just manifesting and visualizing them. It's important, but actually making it happen. So check those out. Next, I wanted to go over the 7 factors that age your brain. So I go over what's called brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF. That's on episode 2762. On Wednesday's show, we go over topical cures for cold sores. Topical cures for cold sores. So this is a topic that I get written in, people writing all the time asking me for, what should I do? So I have a podcast that goes through how to really beat the shingles and herpes-based viruses. So I link up that on the show, but also what can you do topically, not just internally, to help the immune system from the inside out and outside in. So I go over all those on episode 2763, and on episode 2764, we go over longevity guidance, advice, and new tips. So basically, study I wanted to bring you, The success of the study in reducing biological age, so reversing the youth, basically making people younger, right, biologically, and then also how it could be enhanced as well. All right, so all of those are at stephencabral.com/podcast. You will find those shows. Today's show we're diving right into is episode 2765. If you want the 3 big takeaways, if you want all the links to the research, product reviews, and more, head on over to stephencabral.com/2765. All right, first product review of the week. I wish I could be holding up for you right now. Maybe we can pop it up right here on the screen. I've tasted Manuka honey. I've tried Manuka honey many, many times, and my daughter literally loves it. She loves it on some millet toast or gluten-free based things. Absolutely loves it. We'll put it on some of our gluten-free and dairy-free pancakes that we make on the weekends, but that is Manuka honey and it has basically this K factor, and that high K factor is one of the things that makes it antimicrobial, powerful packed antioxidants, and so much more. But there's a new type of honey that I've been reading about, and I would love to hear if you've heard about it already. It's called Kanuka honey, not Manuka honey, but Kanuka honey. It's with a K. I will link it up here today. I don't believe that we can link to it as a product if we start to talk about disease-based states, but maybe we can. Maybe we can. So I'm going to find it. I'm going to pick it up myself, but it is not as readily available as the Manuka honey. So if you've never heard about Manuka honey before, it's been around now for quite a number of years, but let me share with you the origin of where it's coming from, where you can get it. So Manuka honey is also from New Zealand, and it comes from the Manuka tree. So the Manuka tree is a shorter shrub for the most part, but the Kanuka tree, also from New Zealand, but it's much higher. It's actually a larger tree. It provides a lot of shade as well. So there's more harvest too that we can typically get from Kanuka honey bees. So it has the potential to also be a stronger natural, I have to use this politically correct wise in terms of conventional medicine, a stronger natural antibacterial, okay, antimicrobial that may have an even higher what's called MGO, and that stands for methyl glyoxal. And the methyl glyoxal is a lot of how they rate a honey. So remember, honey can be used for, and they use Manuka honey. You can look this up, and I've done research on it and share those links before as well. But they use honey actually in burn trauma centers, treatment centers for, as I just said, burns, bruises, and other wounds for healing. So it is quite powerful. It's great for the digestive system as well. It can act as a prebiotic. So typically we don't recommend it for the first 3 or 4 weeks on like our CBO protocol as we're repairing and rebalancing the gut. But you can absolutely begin to integrate it slowly after that. And then in terms of general health, it can be absolutely fantastic. People adding it to their tea or even coffee. On one of the blue zones islands of Ikaria in Greece, it's their specific form of honey. Actually, they'll add it as a sweetener to certain dishes, and coffee as well. And it is part of potentially one of their longevity-based secrets. So I wanted to share that with you. Again, let me know if that you've seen it before, but right now the research is actually being shown on stimulating immune cells to release certain cytokines to help the immune system produce more macrophages to break down pathogens in the body. Pretty absolutely amazing. And it's being linked right now to wound healing and repair, as well as balancing healthy levels of inflammation and also helping with overall infection. Again, I can't give you any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis, but this is at least something worth looking into. And we always have a bottle of Manuka honey in my house, that's for sure. And who knows, maybe we'll be switching over to Kanuka honey. Wanted to bring that to you. Hopefully this was a good quick tip and you can check that out yourself as well. All right, for that product review. Now the next one, this is one that I actually pulled out of Thursday's show. So that was on the longevity diet. I pulled this out of this study. This is something I've talked about in passing in our integrative health practitioner certification. I've talked about it on the podcast probably just once or so, maybe twice in passing, but it's by Dr. Herbert Benson, and it is on behavioral-based medicine. So I'm kind of combining this as research right now because this was based on their research, which is really powerful. And what it is it's called the relaxation response. And I'm going to direct quote Harvard University on this. So Dr. Benson and his team of researchers looked at how the relaxation response affected each of the body's 40,000 genes and found that compared with the control group, those who regularly used the relaxation response induced an antioxidation and anti-inflammatory changes that counteracted the effects of stress in the body. So I'm going to tell you what the relaxation response is in just one moment. But what antioxidation and anti-inflammatory means is that inside of your body at all times, believe it or not, just from breathing, just from exercise, even the process of digestion, we're creating oxidation. So basically, we're using oxygen. We need that, right? And all of that is being used in the energy in our body and our metabolism that creates free radical damage. You might have heard of free radicals before. Free radicals are basically missing an electron, a paired electron. And what happens is when they don't have that electron, they're moving within the body and creating tissue-based destruction. So that's basically oxidation, rust, and inflammation on the inside. And that inflammation then can be shown on the outside as aging, of course, wrinkles, fine lines, thinning of the hair, et cetera, et cetera. But on the inside, the inflammation can be systemic and actually create then many issues such as autoimmune, headaches, migraines, allergies, you name it. So I share that with you because their research is pretty profound, and this has been going on since the 1960s. So here's how we do it. Eliciting the relaxation response is simple. So Dr. Benson goes on to say that just once or twice a day, for 10 to 20 minutes, sit in a relaxed position, eyes closed, and repeat a word or sound as you breathe. Some people use such words as love or peace. Others say traditional prayers. If your thoughts stray, which is normal, just refocus and repeat the word of whatever your word is on repetition. So, to give credit where credit's due, this is known as oftentimes a mantra back in the yoga or yogic Vedic times, back in ancient Ayurvedic-based wisdom. So this has been going on for thousands of years, but it wasn't necessarily put to the test until about the 1960s or so. So you can relate it to transcendental meditation. You can relate this to a lot of different things. But again, who gets credit? I don't know. I'm not always the biggest even advocate of necessarily giving credit where credit's due because everything seems to go back thousands of years. But anyway, the easiest way to do it is this. 10 minutes after you typically get ready for your day, okay, you're about to start your day, you need to center yourself. And the same thing, really end of the day or before you go to bed. 10 minutes twice a day, honestly, is what they found to be the sweet spot. 20 minutes total a day. If you can do 20 and 20, great. I know most people don't necessarily have 20 and 20 with the exercise they're trying to do and the meal prep and all that. I totally get it. But 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening by just literally, if you're not great at meditation, by just focusing on your breath and one word. So if yours is going to be peace, it's just literally closing your eyes like I'm doing on video right now, breathing in through your nose. And without saying it, now you can say it if you want, you would just say, peace, peace, peace. And you just keep coming back to that word and what the word necessarily means for you. And that then blocks out all the other thoughts. So I'm focusing mainly on my breath. And if I need to, I'm using that word or a mantra, something that you want to use as your intention for that meditation session. It's very powerful. I highly recommend it. And it is being shown over and over to be able to decrease biological age and increase lifespan. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to link up a little article to it that I think would be helpful for you as well. And that'll be at stephencabral.com/2765. All right, I'm going to bring you one more research study here today. So I kind of combine that quick tip and research. I think the research is powerful. Even as the older we get, especially, the more we need this in order to recenter and kind of ground ourselves. Just so powerful. All right, the other research study I wanted to bring you was on one of our closest relatives as a human is a chimpanzee. So there's obviously debate with orangutans and bonobos and chimpanzee, but regardless, they're all very close. And the chimpanzee, what they wanted to do was do a interesting study. And they actually wanted to look at chemical exposure in the environment. Now, again, we talk about this. Naturopaths have talked about this for a long, long time, right? Integrative health practitioners, we talk about this. I talked about this with the 10 American study. If you've never heard about the 10 American study, I go in depth in the rain barrel effect about that. And the rain barrel effect, essentially just a recap on the 10 Americans, is that they took 10 Americans and they ran a lab that was to analyze 400 different toxins from the environment. So out of those 10 Americans, the average was about 232 toxins they found out of 400. Now, the interesting part was that these 10 Americans were not even born yet. They were actually being tested just through fetal cord blood before they were even born. Obviously, no harm came to those soon-to-be children, right? Those babies. But they did find that even just out of 400 chemicals they tested, 232 is the average. That's how many were being passed on from mother to child. So it's not dismissed anymore. But I remember 10 years ago, even on some of the biggest podcasts, they would be like, what's this whole thing about toxins? They would make fun of it. They would joke about it. But the truth is that this isn't going away. It's only becoming worse. When I wrote the Rain Barrel Effect, there were 77,000 known man-made chemicals. Now, there's well over 100,000. It's said to be over 140,000 now, with thousands coming more every year. And the most really is in the United States. There's less in Europe, but certainly there's still over 10,000 in Europe. So these are not things that we can escape from. And I want to share with this, and just hopefully this will hit home. They did a hair mineral analysis. Again, we do this in our practice. This was one of the first tests I ever ran. And a lot of people dismiss, again, hair tissue mineral analysis. But again, it's only because there isn't the education on it. And I understand it and I get it. But NASA's used this for years. They use this with in pregnancy for pregnant women to look at toxins. This is the real thing. And so the minerals and metals test is one of the best labs that you can run to look at heavy metal toxicity. It really is. So anyway, they were monitoring wild chimps as well as chimps in captivity. And even in the wild, so they basically found out of 90 chemicals, they were only testing for 90. They found that in captivity, there were 79 present out of the 90. And in the wild, there were still 60 present. So far more when these chimps were in captivity, far more, right? Like whether they were in zoos, near cars and pollution, etc., or in the wild where they weren't supposed to be exposed to these things. But again, they're still breathing in the air. They're still exposed to the elements. There were still 60. The water they drank, the rain that came down, the whatever might be on the fruit and food that they're eating. So although if we do the math, there was about 25% more or 30% more in the, 30% more in the captive chimps, there was still 60 out of 90 in the wild. And I think that this is important to hit home, not because I need you to take immediate action and be worried, but it is something to think about. Finding out your heavy metal levels, I think, is important, or overall toxicity. I think doing quarterly functional medicine detox is important. I really do believe that. I also believe in intermittent fasting, giving your body at least 12 hours overnight to process and remove as much of this as possible. Drinking half your body weight in water per day, or again, it can be smoothies or herbal tea to keep flushing the system, to be able to get at least a good daily nutritional support or activated multi to give your liver and everything the nutrients it needs to continue to process these. And then every year doing a heavy metal detox. I think that these are things that we can no longer overlook. All the data points to it. Everyone's always welcome to make the best choice for them. But I know that for myself, my family, and our practice, it's what we do. And I just wanted to share that with you. And these studies just continue to back it up. So I'll link them up for you. If you feel, you want to go deeper on it, that's what it's here for, right? So go to StephenCabral.com/2765. We can't link up any of the protocols. We can link up the minerals and metals test. If you want to run one yourself, you're welcome to for 5 different toxic heavy metals. But again, we're always here to help. Let us know what questions you have. If the information was helpful, which hopefully it was, do feel free to pass it on to anyone you believe it can serve. And tomorrow, I'll be back answering our community's questions on the Cabral House Calls. Take care, everybody. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at EquiLife, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquiLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.